We've looked at how to find the area of values that we're looking at less than or greater than. Now let's look at an in-between. If you'll notice, we're calculating the probabilities the exact same way that we did before. The difference here is we have to find the z-scores first. And so the biggest challenge is actually calculating the z-score first and then looking up those up. So in this example, suppose the heights of certain species of giraffe is normally distributed with a mean of 16. So I'm going to go ahead and put 16 here. And a standard deviation of 2 feet. So our standard deviation is 2. Find the probability a randomly selected giraffe from this species would be between 12.3, so I'm going to draw a line here, 12.3, and 15.4 feet. So 15.4 feet. And we want in between. Okay. So we have two separate values here, which means if I have two separate values that I have drawn lines at, not my mean here, but two other values, that means I have to find two separate z-scores. I'm going to have to find a z-score for 12.3, and I'll have to find a z-score for 15.4. So let's look at the 12.3 first. So I'm going to do 12.3 minus the 16 divided by the standard deviation of 2. 12.3 minus 16 will give me a negative 3.7 divided by 2. So negative 3.7 divided by 2 is a negative 1.85. It's negative. It is on the left side. It is less than 16. So negative 1.85 would be my z-score. Then I have to do the same thing for 15.4. 15.4 minus 16 divided by 2. 15.4 minus 16 would be a negative 0.60 divided by 2. Negative 0.60 divided by 2 would give me a negative 0.30. And it should be negative because it's also on the left-hand side. So now we're going to have to look up both of these numbers on our chart. We're going to look up a negative 1.85 and a negative 0.30. And if you recall, the chart is going to give us this value and this value. And we're going to have to subtract those two so that we can get this in-between value. Okay? So let's go up to the negative 1.8, and I'm going to get rid of that. Negative 1.8, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's a 0.0322. 0.0322. That was for my negative 1.85. Now we need for a negative 0.30. Negative 0.30 would be a 0.3821. 0.3821. So I'm going to subtract these. So I get a 0.3821 minus a 0.0322. which would give me a 0.3499. That is this area. Those two numbers subtracted is what gives me the area in the middle. So the probability a randomly selected giraffe is between 12.3 feet and 15.4 feet, not 14 feet, 15.4 feet, is a 0.3499. So it's still a pretty good chunk of probability, but that's because we do have half of our probability being less. Okay? So try a couple of in-betweens, and the next video we're going to talk about finding the actual z-scores. Okay?